Right.
Hey Tobi, how are you?
Yeah, I'm fine. And you?
Fine too. What is behind you? Like a picture of three men?
Yeah. It's Blasco and Robert Merton.
Ah, okay.
Yeah, they're like my
Cool.
guys, and they give me inspiration. So
Uh, Inspiration is
yeah,
very important in
exactly.
our research life. Today I want to ask you some questions, and I expect very interesting and like answer in depth.
Okay,
First, I want to ask you about HSE. Why
okay,
have you chosen this university? Because there are plenty of interesting universities, but you have chosen exactly this one. So,
okay.
what was your motivation?
Thank you very much for the question. Before applying to HSE, I worked at one of the biggest automobile company in my country, and I was in my office, so I was searching different master program. Then I saw strategic corporate finance. I was like, oh, this sounds very strategic. And so I was like, oh, maybe I should apply. This can take me to the top because I'm pretty much fascinated with all these strategic decisions. So I was like, yeah, it sounds very good. Then I tried to understand the structure of the program, and I noticed that you can do double degree program, and I was like, yeah, 2 years, 2 degrees, countries. So it sounds pretty much interesting, and I think that. Not a lot of universities offer this kind of structure, especially two robust programs being combined into 2 year period.
So, as far as I understand, you
Yeah.
worked in the industry and then decided to switch to educational programs. So, why have you chosen this research track? What was your motivation to do research, etc.? Because as far as I know, you're right now in Luxembourg, yes?
Yeah. Okay. The motivation for the research work, I think my let me put it this way. I solidified my belief towards research work after I interned with PwC during the summertime, and I did some research work at the Corporate Finance Lab at HSE, and I realized that, oh boy, you can contribute a lot to the world if you're trying to bring the theories and the practice together. So trying to combine the divergence in theory and practice, and trying to see how you can apply those theoretical framework to reality. That's number one reason. The second reason is that I intend to go back to my country to create business school. And I
Ah,
think doing this kind of things, and if there's PhD also to in front of my name, it would be like, okay, we can get this guy a place. I mean, to start business school because he knows what education entails. Three, I'm currently doing research work in area that I love. One is sustainable finance, and two, it's mutual fund. So I'm looking at sustainable challenges in mutual fund. So which means that this has a very practical application reality, and I'm working with real life data. So it's not like I'm just doing theoretical work. And also to attention is being paid more to sustainable finance now. And so it's really the new trend, and also very, very much applicable in reality.
how HEC helped you to find these areas? Because sustainable finance and mutual funds are maybe very popular in Europe or USA, but not in Russia. That's why I'm asking, like, what was your motivation, and had HEC somehow helped you to
I would, for sure. I think for me, I'm going to say that my current program now it's almost, if not entirely, dependent on what HSC has really done for me. And another thing is, I would like to thank Oksana because she did a lot of work for me. She helped me. I mean, practically a lot. And I think because my first year at HSE, I was always disturbing Oksana. What about the double degree program? Show me the way. And Oksana is always there trying to help. So, yeah. And then she told me that I've been nominated to do my second year program at the University of Luxembourg. And so then I got to Luxembourg through the international admission office. Let me just put it that way. And so when I got in here, I started my program in quantitative economics and finance, the second year master, and I realized that the new trend is really sustainable finance, and I try to research that, and I find it quite interesting, and yeah, that's why I really move it towards this direction. So I would say it's really from HSE that's that launched me into this particular field, technically or
Okay.
practically. Yeah.
So, can you mention three non-trivial courses you have taken through studying in HSE, in SCF, or maybe electives or Magolega?
Okay. Interesting. Okay, for Magalego, I would say U.S. and Russia relationship during the Cold War. For me, it was very interesting because, and at the end of the day, I scored 10-10. Yeah, it was very pretty much interesting. But back to my own corporate finance courses. Um, I mean, the most interesting one, I won't say the most interesting, but the one I find much more valuable. I think one, business valuation,
Mm-hmm.
um, plus financial modeling, one side.
Okay. Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
Um, the theory of finance, I also find that very interesting. That's why I chose her as my supervisor for my master thesis.
Who was your supervisor, sorry?
Victoria Rodina.
Okay, okay. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, very helpful. She supported me. I mean, I enjoyed a lot of support from HSC, even while here
Mm-hmm.
at University of Luxembourg. Theory of finance, and I would say I pretty much enjoy advanced macroeconomics from Dimitri, right, I guess.
Dementiев Dmitry, I guess.
Yeah.
Nice.
It was pretty much interesting for me. And lastly, I would just put corporate finance from Professor Irina.
Irina Iwashkovskaya, yes.
Yeah, exactly.
She is my supervisor right now. Yeah.
Interesting. But she's
Uh,
always very busy.
I could say she is very helpful. She always answer all the questions immediately.
Okay.
Okay. I'm really. It's not in my pool of questions, but I want to
Okay.
ask about the Magalega course, U.S. and Russia relationships,
Yeah.
because isn't it strange that Russian university in English trying to teach you this course? Was it biased somehow, or it was very good structured and have both critical reasons and opinions?
Yeah, I think that's an excellent question. For sure, it will be a little bit biased.
Okay.
Uh, but I think the good thing about the course is that I think if I'm right, the course made use of I think US textbook, which makes it a little bit non-biased. Although the lecturer gave his own opinion, which is quite I appreciate so much because the lecturer said, okay, this is my opinion on what is going on, but this is what is popularly believed. And he told us what happened behind the scene. So, for instance, how it was, I know how you design the settings that when you mention anything relating to Russia, then people will clap, but it was like a setting that has been designed just to make it that way, that okay, anytime you mention Russia, it's like, yeah. So, but it was quite interesting, very detailed. And after the course, I suggested to the lecturer the way he can improve the lectures, for especially for international students, because for instance, when he mentioned about some past presidents in maybe the relationship between past presidents in the United States and also in Russia. For us, we don't know their faces, we don't recognize them in that way, and they start mentioning a bunch of names. But maybe if you show us like a little slide that shows their pictures and their names, so we could follow the whole process. But yeah, I thought it was quite interesting.
I want to mention that majority of professors in HEC are very are very okay with our opinion, and they're trying to improve, not like in other universities actually.
Exactly.
Wanted to ask next question.
Okay.
In our strategic corporate finance department,
Yeah.
we do a lot of homeworks, home assignments,
Every
projects with
time.
teams. And like, have you had good experience with your team or not? And are you happy with it? Do you think that there are some advantages or disadvantages to work in teams?
I think that first I will answer the question on the advantages and the disadvantages of really working in a team for international students specifically. You know, when you come to Russia and almost 90% speak Russian, and you're in a team and everyone is chatting in Russian, like, and I'm like, guys, I don't understand Russian. Please, can you chat in English? But yeah, but I understand because that is the setting, and I didn't allow that to really affect me because I know what I'm getting myself into in the first place. So it was like, okay, guys, let's chat. So it was at first difficult to integrate into the whole group or into the team. And so, but immediately they recognize that you have something to add or something valuable to bring to the table. So they don't have choice than to than to say those things in English and say, Toby, what do you think? And so, but going back to the advantage, I think it's very much advantages to really work in a team because one, if you are, that is if you have a very good team, because it's possible that you don't have a very good team and it can be very stressful. So I was really opportune to work with a very good team. um, Anastasia, Olga, they were in my team and they were like very strong ladies, always like pretty much willing to contribute at great length. So I learned a lot from them. Even when we were asked to change to other team, I was like, I really want Olga and Anastasia in my team. Why? Because they are very strong and they are pushing me to become better. And so I really want them back in my team and to be able to work with them. So I think for the program to be able to be successful, it really depends on your team also too. You have to get a very strong team that you guys can work together. And from there you can get, if you're looking for grades, you can get a good grade. Second, if you're looking for good knowledge, then you can get that because your team are willing to contribute and you can, I mean, most time you learn a lot from your team rather than from your lecturer. The lecturer just come give you the skeleton, then you go back home and you develop the body. And so I think that's another thing I really I would say is a major advantage for that. Um, and second thing is that, you know, in our program, it's like homework, 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 and you're struggling, running up and down to. So that means that if you don't rely on your team for them to carry out a good job, you're going to suffer a lot. Why? Because you're trying to do everything. But if you delegate and say, you do this, you do that, okay, we come together, we discuss, and we are done with this project. So team, I mean, it's pretty much, and I really love the structure for the HSE education as compared to my country, let me put it that way, because first you will sit down at a very big class and you discuss the concepts. Like Professor Arena will come at a very big class and you discuss, then you'll be given case study and you'll be grouped into smaller classes so that you could be able to interact and you can be able to deliver your project at that um, structured classes. So I think that's another really very interesting thing about the whole something, but you know, a lot of assignment.
You have mentioned that you had two groups. First one was really like a lucky team for you, and you were fortunate to have such a great team. But second, you didn't mention that. I mean, had you had any problems, and if you had, how you managed to solve it?
Okay. My second team. Okay, I would say not entirely second team because for the second team I had Olga and Anastasia, but
Ah, okay.
later I did. For instance, my corporate risk management classes team. Sorry, I did with Adam and Tu. Tu is from Vietnam. Adam is from Somalia. We work as a team. You know, it's like HSC has really built us as, because from our country we're not, I would say not so much extremely hardworking. But when we got to HSC, we're trying to be the best, and then three of us came together, so you can understand the synergy. So it was very strong, and we delivered the project. And at the end of the day, in my team, the lowest was 9. So it was like 9 for Adam, 9 for two, and 10 for me. And it was
Okay.
like, and
Cool.
during our presentation, the other things were like, oh, I'm not sure we're going to deliver up to these guys. These guys, like, they did a lot. And it was really pretty much interesting. So HSC, I mean, the people, I would say the people is like the most important thing over there. They're pretty much willing to develop, and they're very knowledgeable. Yeah.
Which subjects? It's not in the pool of questions again.
Okay, okay.
It's my personal question. Which
Yeah.
subjects were the most challenging for you? Because right now I'm the first year student, and somehow I understand you, but I want to see like your experience.
Okay, to be sincere, the most challenging course I would say is microeconomics
Ah,
by Alan Friedman.
I see.
Yeah, very challenging, and it's difficult to understand our requirements, and yeah, it was challenging for everybody, not just me. And I hope, I mean, you two, you know what I'm talking about, because yeah, it's very much challenging. Yeah.
Okay. It was tricky question because I thought that you will say something like research seminar or I don't
I
know.
know, no.
Because this kind of like this kind of lessons I can't explain, but there are too much work, a little bit overwhelming courses. Okay. When you have applied to strategic corporate finance, you had an interview. Which question in the interview was the most challenging? How you prepared to this interview, and do you think that your interview went well or not?
Okay, I believe that when I was immediately after my interview, which is maybe typical for everybody, I was thinking, I could have answered this question in this direction. So I was not sure if my interview went well or not. So I was a little bit confused. And the question they asked me was, looking at CAPM model in asset pricing, is it possible to have a negative return on portfolio? So, and I was like thinking, negative return on portfolios, that sounds strange. It's not possible. And so I answered the question that, okay, it's not possible to have negative returns on portfolio considering the CAPL module. And they tried to structure the question a different way for me to understand that maybe I'm not getting the full something. But yeah, that was the question. And after that, I was telling my friend that these are the kind of questions that they asked me. And my friend said, I'm not going to HSE. It seems too difficult. I'm like, come on, guy. So that was my experience for the interview. I would say it was a little bit, it was not that difficult because they asked me both technical questions and also behavioral questions. But yeah, that was it.
You had very theoretical questions because I
Yeah.
didn't have any questions about
Uh,
theory at all.
how was your interview?
My interview went well.
Yeah.
I like to speak, present, etc.
Okay.
That's why like it was not a hard part for me, and I wasn't asked any question about theory or corporate finance. It was just like what I'm doing in my life, etc. What was my motivation to come?
Okay. Sorry to let me ask a question. You did your bachelor in what and where?
I did bachelor in robotics and mechatronics.
Okay.
Yes, in
And
Nazarbayev University.
okay, then you move into finance.
Yes.
Why?
Same as you, I worked in industry, and it was almost like it was literally same motivation that you had. I thought, oh, strategic corporate finance, that's a good program. However, I have thought about it more than a year.
Okay.
Like I've researched about universities, etc. Okay, right now you are in Luxembourg.
Yeah,
Am I right? Do you
yeah,
like this country?
yeah. The country is very much nice. You can make a lot of money.
Ah, okay. Finance student.
Exactly.
Do you have friends there from Russia, maybe?
Um,
Do you speak
from
Russian, actually?
No, not really. No, the strategic corporate finance is one too strategic and too time consuming. So it was technically impossible for me to combine that with Russian
Oh, okay.
classes, and yeah, so I did only Dobry Din, Kadila,
Oh,
stuff.
okay.
Yeah, but not really very deep. Yeah.
So, do you have Russian friends in Luxembourg?
I have, but there are not many
Hmm.
because a lot of them went back to Russia.
Ah, okay.
Even on my floor, I have a Russian friend, Marina.
Ah, okay.
Yeah, but yeah, and also I know some first year students from Russia too that came in for the same program I did.
Ah, okay.
Yes, so
Do you have some nostalgia maybe about your period in Russia? Because it's really a cultural country and there are a lot of interesting stuff. Do you miss it?
um, I would say because for me as an international student, it's pretty much difficult to live outside the university. I
Uh,
mean, in the
mm,
surroundings, because almost everybody speaks Russians, and so Russia, sorry. And so it's difficult to be able to buy some things sometimes. But
mm,
in the university, you can see students that speak very good English, and so you can easily interact with them. And so, yeah. But what I mean is, I mean, the country is Russia is very big, and everything just happens very fast, and sometimes I just feel like, where am I? So it has a lot of very interesting as compared to Luxembourg. Luxembourg is a very small country, and
mhm.
you don't have a lot going on. But in Russia, in Moscow specifically, everything is always moving, bubbling, and every I mean, you can see something going on somewhere. And so I think I missed that part. But as an international student, if you're not in the university, it's a little bit difficult to get around if you don't understand Russian.
I'm an international student too, by the way.
But can you
Have
speak
you?
Russian?
Yes, I speak three languages.
Okay.
Have you been outside of Moscow?
No, 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 no. I wanted to
Uh,
go to St. Petersburg, but I later canceled the trip because of the program. I was
okay.
having something to deliver, so I couldn't go.
When you come back to Russia, like for any reason, try to visit Sochi.
Hey,
You will be surprised by the friendly people, by atmosphere, and I
yeah,
guess it's not so fast. It's not like so nervous city as Moscow, because in Moscow you feel like a little bit too overwhelmed with
exactly.
the speed. And in Sochi, you will just, I guess, relax and find some zen maybe.
Nice.
What are you studying and researching right now in Luxembourg?
Okay. Like I said, I'm currently doing my PhD in sustainable finance. And
Mm-hmm.
so I'm looking at the sustainable challenges of mutual funds. And
Which
so
one?
mutual fund, sustainable
Which no?
challenges.
Which challenges exactly?
Because we're trying to see how sustainable this is actually. I mean, the mutual fund might be over the period, and we're trying to compare the ESG fund with the sync fund. So we're trying to understand their investment strategy or portfolios. We're trying to understand the sustainability matrices. So we got funding for this from the government. So it's the
Mm.
government that is paying us to do the research work.
Oh, so this is that financial aid that you have received, yes? Can you
Exactly.
please specify how much?
Okay. What I know is that every month they pay me 3,016 in gross amount, 3,016 euros.
Mm-hmm,
And
mm-hmm.
this will be for 3 years, but extendable for additional 1 year. So,
Okay.
so if you multiply 3,000 by 12 by possibly
Okay, yeah,
four,
yeah.
then we can.
Yeah.
So it's a lot
Okay.
of money.
And are you happy with your research work? Are you going to have some publications?
Yeah,
And do you have any?
um, I have some publications already, but not in this area
Mm-hmm.
because I just started.
Mm-hmm.
But we're planning to at least publish three articles in top journals. I'm
Mm-hmm.
working with one of the top professors in Luxembourg,
Mm-hmm.
and he's also a visiting fellow to Stanford University. So
Oh,
he's a
cool.
pretty much top professor, and I believe that we're going to achieve that goal.
Do you have enough support from your professor?
Yes, I mean, a lot of support, even while trying to package the application for the grants
Mm-hmm.
from the government. He helped me a lot in packaging the whole application, and he wrote a letter of support for me. So, yeah,
Mm-hmm.
and that's another reason why I plan to really work in that area because it's very much helpful. It puts me through different what's it called, like it put me through everything. So if I write something and maybe it's not good enough, it's going to say, Toby, why don't you do this in this way, look at this and that. So it's not just saying your work is bad, get out. It's like your work is not good or it's bad, but this is how to improve it. So you know how to improve it, and you go back home, do your own work and improve the work.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Can you please describe the way how to be in your shoes, for example? Like, what if me right now, in first year student of HSE, want to have same financial aid to my research in Luxembourg? Like, can you explain at least 5 steps how to, I don't know, how to be in your situation right now?
Okay, 5 steps. I think 5 steps might be too much, but I'll try to see how I can do justice to that. I'll say first, be willing to take risk because I'll say coming to Luxembourg, it's more like a very big risk on my part. So I'm trying to look at it that you're HSC student, and you're trying to move to Luxembourg, and
Mm-hmm.
you're trying to get the research grant. So because when I applied, when they told me that I got a place at the University of Luxembourg, there was no scholarship.
Mm-hmm.
And Oksana messaged me and said, Toby, there's no scholarship for this. And so, will you still be willing to go? And it was like, but you will need to have at least 1,000 euros per month. So it was like, and I was thinking in my brain, how am I going to do this? 1,000 per euro is like a lot. And so, but I was like, okay, let's do that. Let's do that. Then I took the risk. And when I got into Luxembourg, so my second step is that be willing to be your best at everything you do. And so I tried to strive to become the best version of myself. And later I was awarded a scholarship for the master program. And so that would be the second thing. And probably the third thing is be willing to also, I mean, work with people because most time you learn from them than any other. Because I would say that I learned a lot from my supervisor, on my current supervisor for the PhD work because he was willing to help, and I was also willing to accept the help because those are kind of two things. So when you criticize your work, understand that the criticism is not really, and that's it. We're willing to take criticism because if you criticize your work and say, "Oh, this guy just criticized my work, I don't like him," blah blah blah, but the criticism is for you to develop. So if you take it like, "Oh, this guy is trying to help me," even if you don't, even if it doesn't look like that, "Oh, this guy is trying to help me," which means if you criticize my work, it's trying to make my work to be better. And so anytime he says, "Toby, just do it this way," I'll be like, "Okay, let's do it." There was a time that we've designed the whole project, and we were meant to submit on Monday. Then on Friday, he told me that, Toby, what we've done, we need to cancel most of them and redesign it totally. And I was like, what's going on? We've packaged everything. And I was like, okay, bring it on. Let's see what we can do. And he connected me with some people to redesign the work. So Yeah, but everything will boils down to be willing to take risk and be the best. Always continue to develop yourself every day and be willing to work with people and accept criticism. And I think you can be able to achieve that. Most of these things everybody knows, but not everybody is willing to take the steps. I mean, they tell you hard work, consistent, persistent, everything, but people are just so lazy to do the real work.
I agree with you. Actually, about collaboration, it's
Yeah,
interesting stuff. You mentioned it right now because collaboration is the first lesson HSE teach you in the
exactly.
first year. Because if you don't have enough collaboration with your colleagues and professors and even with your advisor, um, usually international students have some advisors. I guess you will not succeed. At least, even if
Exactly.
you have enough collaboration, you can not succeed too because you should always ask for reviews.
Exactly.
And
Get feedback.
sometimes, yes, get feedback. And sometimes, how to say, people are lazy to give feedbacks. They're just giving you grades like, okay, it will be
Yeah.
4, and that's all. And I always ask, okay, what I've done wrong, what's going
Exactly.
on, etc.
Exactly.
It's actually a cool thing to mention.
Yeah,
And
thank you.
so, what are you going to do in the next like 5, 10 years?
Oh, in the next 5 to 10 years, first, like I mentioned, I'm doing so much of fun, and I'm trying to, after my study, I'm trying to see how this apply to my country. First, and second, 5 to 10 years. Currently, I'm taking more position in the stock market,
Mm-hmm.
and like I mentioned, this will also be um, as a kind of way to also kickstart my mutual fund in Nigeria if I want to. Um, but also I'm thinking of starting up something, building the structure for my business school
Mm-hmm.
back home, and I also intend to go. A lot of things going on in my brain right now, and I'm trying to really, to be sincere, I'm trying to really figure out a particular way to get to my goal, because my final goal in life is to create a business school that is going to train young people to be able to undertake the challenges or economic challenges in my country. That's my final goal, because which means I'm going to either retire as a lecturer or managing a business school. However, before then, because I'm trying to create this high quality education back home, but the income of the people are kind of low,
Mm-hmm.
which means that even if you create high quality education, it will be expensive for people to be able to pay for the education at that particular um, region. So, which means that I want to start a business, and I'm hoping that the business is going to make me a lot of money to be able to subsidize the education for people to be able to um, afford. So,
Mm-hmm.
for sure, in the next 5 to 10 years, I'll be going into real estate, I'll be going into mutual fund, and I'll be going into database management company, something like Bloomberg, but for Africa. And I
Mm-hmm.
will be looking into maybe labeling some ESG product or sustainable products. Yeah.
So, are you going back to Nigeria after
Um,
your studies?
After my studies, I'm going to stay here for like 2 years to gather up some more capital and build my
Mm-hmm.
network more. So that would
Mm-hmm.
be like I'll be in Luxembourg for 5 to 6 years, and after that I'll go back to my country to build up something.
Luxembourg is a developed market, and
Exactly,
Nigeria is emerging market.
exactly.
So, do you think that it is hard to like to use your knowledge you have obtained in developed market into emerging, because there are a lot of differences, there are a lot of cultural differences, because I'm from emerging market too,
Yeah,
like I'm from Kazakhstan, and I understand main problems that we usually face. It's fiduciary, it's like corruption, etc. And
exactly.
um, so what is your plan to implement knowledge from developed market into emerging, because you cannot do it like in a street way. You need to adjust it somehow? Do you have any?
Very good question. Even I started to think about this same thing back in Moscow, and I discussed with one of my professors, Rodina Victoria, my supervisor. I told you the other time, because we discussed that. I said, Professor, I'm gaining a lot of knowledge, but I think that it's really tricky because most of these things I might not be able to apply them when I go back to my country. And that is also where the idea of this business school is coming from, that we
Mhm.
train the next generation to be able to undo the process of moving towards being developed and the process of being able to undo the situation as at that when we get to that time. So in a way, first, this knowledge I'm gaining here is going to be applicable um, maybe for next generation. And since I'm going into educating the next generation, then it will be useful. That's one. But second thing is that, um, and that was one of the reasons why I went back home to do an internship in strategic in corporate finance at PwC in order to understand what is really going on in my own markets. So what I'm trying to do now is to do the comparison between the two. And I believe that when I go back home, that might be the first lesson that I might maybe learn, that more learning about how different our own market is compared to developed, but also to being able to set a standard that, okay, this is what we are looking up to, and now we need to develop towards that. So even if I'm creating my company, to be created targeted towards being in quotes, it should be according to international standards. And that might be, it might take a lot of time, but like I mentioned also too, I think, um, in short, I think that that is one of the things I would need to also learn more when I go back home to understand our market better and to be able to. But irrespective of that, there are some things that they are still pretty much applicable when you go back home. A lot. The only thing is that, for instance, investing in emerging market has a lot, a kind of maybe, for instance, the country risks might be high as compared to maybe developed markets, for instance. And so, in a way, you ask for more return, right? In order to compensate for that. So there might be, or you have different opinion. Okay, tell me.
The thing is that you
Yeah,
already mentioned that developed market is going to be a benchmark
exactly.
in a way of developing your country. However, I disagree with it.
Okay.
Why? Because it will still leave you as a leading, as a lagging position. You will always lag because you're making like as a country as a benchmark. Um, I have a little bit different idea about this
Okay.
because I think that we shouldn't um, prioritize and
Okay.
we shouldn't put any country as a benchmark because I'm from Kazakhstan. I have
Oh,
graduated from English speaking university, English speaking school, and I had something like synergy of Russian education, tough Russian education,
yeah.
and like American education, which is focused on communication, presentation, etc. And I have a lot of problems right now because it was like experiment, and we had some drawbacks in knowing some general information about literature, geography, and other stuff. I'm mentioning because they had same benchmark, America
Yeah.
and Russia.
Yeah. Yeah.
And that's why right now Kazakhstan actually, even if I had really good education, I'm thankful for that. But right now Kazakhstan has like the lowest position in education, even if we had very good background from USSR. That's why, like my personal opinion, that um, we should progress more and think ahead of the stuff that developed market already thinks, because we have better foundation as an emerging market. We have better market. We have some like possibility to scale up every business, etc. Because you have a lot of people, and they can work more, they can produce more, they can give you more GDP, etc. And
At low
when you think
cost.
about this, you understand that you have much better advantages and you can use it and be much more efficient in this way than people who already have a lot of problems with unemployment, like states with a lot of social this like packages like Europe. I understand that it's good, but it's like it expands government spending. That's why I'm saying that what is your plan? Because I thought about it very like a long time, and I think that all HSC students should collaborate. For example, students from Nigeria, we have a lot of them.
Yeah.
You should all collaborate and have some good, sustainable plan, and like move into this direction. So we came to our next question. Do you have
Okay.
some friends from Nigeria in HSE, and do you collaborate? Do you have some like private club
Yeah.
Nigerian people in HSE?
No, no, for now, no, for now, we don't have. And I think after this meeting, which is a very good point raised by you, I will talk to Oksana and I will ask her if I can get some information about some Nigerians that are already there, and we can create a club or a way to communicate. However, I know some Nigerians that are over there now, first year students. You know, Deborah, Debbie.
Yeah. I know.
Okay, exactly. There's
There are
also,
some 2 or 3 more students in
yeah,
Faculty of Economic Science.
exactly, applied economics. I was trying to remember. Dolan, I don't know if you
I
know
don't
Dolan.
remember. I
Okay,
know only
okay.
our department.
Okay, okay. He's in applied economics, and I also know some guys in political science. It's like
Mhm.
public policy. Yeah, but we don't have the group yet, and that is one of the things I'll be willing to create because yeah, I think it's going to go a long way.
Because why I'm saying this, because you already achieved very. I think that what you have done is a very good achievement, and
Okay.
you should be a motivation for others. Like I'm from emerging market, as I said already,
Yeah,
and we have this group. We work together. We make some cases, think, have some like spreading information, etc. And it's very helpful. And I think that it will be helpful not only for them but for you too.
exactly. I
So
agree, 100%.
thank you for your interview.
Yeah, thank you very much
Add
too.
me in LinkedIn. I hope that we can have some cool communication.